Okay, we are live. Yay! Hello, parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box, and thanks so much for being here. And today I have the honor of having a special guest, and she's Ovidia. Hello.
Hi, John.
Hi. Thanks for being here. And I know that you are still in office.
Yes.
Yes. So working very hard. Okay, so parents, today we'll be talking about better the nurturing and teaching of children. So today, this will be a conversation that will, I think, many of us being a parents will be interested in. Yeah, because I think it's not just academic nurturing and learning. Yeah. So before we talk about this, so could you share with us that what's your backstory on building this Brillianaire, right?
Yes, Brillianaire, that's right.
Yeah, I pronounced correctly, yes.
Yeah, I think as we go by, you'll get it better.
Yes. Very encouraging, I can see that.
Definitely you will.
Yes, so could you share with us your backstory, how you started off all this?
Actually, it is way back, 11 years back. 11 years back, my girl was 5 years old. So during that point of time, I heard of dermatographic analysis. But at that point of time, Singapore doesn't have these services. So I actually got someone from overseas to come to Singapore to get the report done for my girl. And ever since then, I have been very interested because through the report, it actually made wonders. And even today, my daughter is still very grateful for me for having the report to guide her along the way. Because in the report, I think if anyone were to come to me and they will get to see the sample report, anybody will find it's amazing for one to have a weaker inheritance in terms of DNA. But today she's doing very well in terms of academic, and besides that, in terms of holistically, she is also doing I would say that it's pretty well. Of course, she's my girl, but then as a matter of fact, I still think that I give credit to her for her achievement today.
When you say reports, actually why? Because I didn't catch it.
Okay, actually it's an analysis report. It shows what is the ability that my girl has and what is the limitations. After seeing her report, to my surprise, actually it's full of limitations. And she was only 5 years old then. Of course, being a Singapore parents, they are actually very disheartened to see the DNA. But of course, besides that, I think the next thing we have to do is pick up, because we have to stand strong. Otherwise, no one is going to hold her hand to help her along the journey of learning and nurturing. Sorry. So with that, with the help of the report, because it guided me, it gave me methods, and with that, I actually make a lot of differences compared to those I would say traditional way of learning and teaching. What we do is that I actually slow down in terms of teaching her in terms of academic, but we learn through play. There's a lot of learning factors being factored in during her early days of learning. So with that, so slowly that introduce the learning classes for her to attend. And amazingly, with our patience and the space, the time that we give to her during the age of 5 to 7, she had actually she's able to actually grasp most of the whole method of learning. And ever since P1, she has been top class all the way to Set 4. So with this piece, and of course, most amazingly is actually 2 years back, I actually had a little conversation with her. So because that particular day, she actually shared with me, "Mommy, I hate math." So, but let me share, she's getting A1 for her math, and she's telling me that she hates it. But actually, I acknowledge her feel towards it, because she has the weaknesses in this area. So the A's that she got is actually a hard work that she put in. It's basically not her strength, it's not in her. So I gave her a pat on the shoulder. And firstly, I acknowledge her feeling towards this. That is her disliking of the knowledge, the subject. I acknowledge, and she is happy, because I think every child, all the children, will be happy to know that we are being acknowledged of my feeling. Feeling is something which is there's no right or wrong. But many a time as a parent, if you are getting an ace and you are telling me that you hate the subject, I think high chance that the parents will think that the child is trying to be naughty, trying to be funny. Agree with me? So it doesn't actually come in line with that. But how it happens, she is able to get A1, that's through her hard work. But she's still disliking the subject is because there is a limitation, it's a weaknesses in the DNA. So it's fairly making sense that she has the ability to do the job through training, and underlying she can still be hating the subject or hating the certain act or certain training in what she's doing. But I think John, you will agree with me. The answer that I given to her is actually making a lot of difference and it's very impactful to her life because she has been acknowledged by mommy. Mommy is agreeable to the point that she can dislike the subject, but I'm still encouraging her. I'm still acknowledging her for working very hard on the subject. I think that is quite amazing. And besides that, I also actually at times, because I actually talk a lot with her, so along the pipeline, she is a happy learner. I think that is very important. It actually took me 11 years from the age of 5 to 16. It took me 11 years to hold her hand, to be by her side. Honestly, beside any of the subjects related stuff, I'm actually always by her side to hold her hand, to give her support in her thinking. Because of the DNA that I know of her, I know where is the area that I need to help her. In terms of all the studies, she has to do it on her own. But I think how she actually managed to be so, or rather to be doing well today, is because of the support that mommy is there to give. And then she will do her job well, to do her job to get all her studies done in the school. In fact, my successful story is actually have been duplicated in my clients. So what happened is some of the children, they didn't have a very good bonding and relationship with parents. So subsequently, when the parents get to know more about the DNA of the child, such as personality, their limitations, and even their learning styles, they actually change themselves. Parents have to change ourselves first, to manage ourselves, to help our children along the pipeline. It's not so much about which class to send them to. I think fundamentally, parents are the first point who is going to be the greatest help to the child's learning. So with that, I'm very happy. I'm very hopeful. I think it's a very purposeful career that I'm stepping into. So almost 3 years back, I decided to bring this on across the board so that I can help more parents out there. And actually indirectly helping the children. Because if I'm able to show the parents how they can actually benefit from this analysis, how they can manage the expectation, what to expect and where to actually hold their hands and where to actually have more perseverance in the area where they are gifted, I think that's going to make a lot of difference to the child's growth. I would say growth, because it's a growing process for the child, not just academic. In terms of their personality, their mindset, I think that is which is more important.
Okay, I just want to better understand the process. Because I think that I think DNA is it's not a very common word that we use when talking to parents. And I think when we mention the word DNA, it's like it goes really deep into the biological parts or even the genetic codes of our body. Yeah. So I'm trying to understand as a layman, when you say DNA and you're able to identify the good and probably those that are not working for the child, and actually what do you really mean? So could you give some examples and how and what are the things that we are looking for, and how do you actually tweak in such a sense that it becomes a benefit for the parents to help when they work with the kid?
Okay, basically maybe I will just touch a little bit on how does the photographics work.
Wow, it's so cheap.
Yeah, the words like very cheap, but then actually it is very simple. It's just a study of our fingerprint ridges, which is connected to our brain loops. And from there we can identify individuals' potential, limitations, even pressure level. I think today is a big issue. It's a big subject when we talk about pressure level. We want to know whether how much pressure our kids can take. And besides that, what's the learning speed? Why some children they are learning faster, some children they are learning slower? And what there's not that I mean when we're talking about the learning speed, fast and slow, to be honest with you, John, there is no good or bad. Because for a fast learner, there is some blind spot. For a slow learner, we just have to be more patient. You get what I mean? So it's crucial, and it's actually very important for us to know, coming from this piece of information. If my child is a fast learner, what is it that I have to look out for? If she is a slow learner, I have to manage myself. I have to give her a lot of patience. And besides that, you will also get to know whether, what's the personality of the child. I think that's very important, because sometimes as working adults today, we are all very busy at work. Every time we say that we know our child the best, we didn't actually really realize or notice our child is giving us a version that is approving coming from parents. Is that the real them? So sometimes later we think that, my child had changed. No, actually your child has been like this all this while. But because when they are younger, they have been portraying themselves as an image, as the guai guai, the good girl, good boy image, because it's an approving image of the parent. Our children are actually very intelligent. They're intelligent enough to know how should I behave, how should I talk, so that I get the approval from my parents. But indirectly, subconsciously, they're hiding their own self, their true self. So parents didn't really get to know what is a personality as per se as of their DNA, from DNA. But through the analysis, we are able to see. So when we see, we are not there to anticipate, but to participate in every event, in every changes that's going to take shape, going to take place in their growing age. So of course, on top of that, you will also be able to see what's the MI, the multiple intelligence, which area, so that we can adjust some of what is our expectation when we send them to all these different enrichment classes. So we also do analysis for that, for parents to move on with the structure and the arrangement of the enrichment classes for the children, which are the areas which they should hold hand. And indirectly through this whole analysis, which is the area that they can actually, what they can do, what other activities or which area of training which they can do to help in even math, even in math training. Like Mignon, like example, just like I mentioned about Mignon, right? She has a week. In fact, she is sitting on the week of weaknesses in this piece that is in the math portion. So since very little, she has been playing piano. She has been doing all the different kind of brain training, brain connectivities exercise to help her to be connected. And indirectly, that is an exercise which she can enjoy, because it is all quite, it sounds quite fun, right? When at the age of 5, you can get to jump on the trampoline, you can get to do all the different things that is unrelated to math, but it is helpful along the pipeline. Even piano, we use 2 hands to play. So when we play, it's actually a connectivity is being increased. And of course, for her case, I know she has a gifted area in her small motor skills. So I can design in such a way that this is going to be a piece of where she's going to be trained in subconsciously. She is going to train her brain with the fingers that she can work well with. So all this is going to sit in very beautifully. So which is why she didn't think that the learning process is a very tough and difficult one coming from money. So from our report, it can actually give us a very, very, very clear insight of their strength, limitations, learning style. So how should I actually go by VAK? We are all very quite familiar with VAK, vision, auditory, or kinesthetic. So through all this, it gives us another method in how to actually train our kids in which area that we can actually move in, so that the child can have a natural, I would say that it is going to be a natural kind of learning. It's not forceful, but natural. For example, my child is auditory. When your child is auditory, sometimes parents get very upset when the child actually put on the headset when they study. Right? But instead, they didn't know that actually if this child is an auditory child, it's perfectly all right for them to have the headset on. As
Mm.
long as it's not very disturbing, it is actually very comforting to the child's soul. So
Mm.
with that, they can actually concentrate and focus better than without one. But
Mm.
being parents, we are always parents. We are always very upset with some of the very untraditional way of what they are doing.
Mm.
The minute they put on the headset, we just feel very disturbed. I thought you're studying. Why are you
Mm.
having a headset on?
Mm-hmm.
But if for parents who have gone through the consultation with me, they will understand. Hey, my child is belonging to this area.
Mm-hmm.
So I always advise parents, your child belongs to this segment. Just let
Mm.
her. As long as
Mm.
the music is soft, it's not too disturbing, give her some of this. This is quite comforting to them.
Mm.
So when one is having this piece of or rather high grading in the auditory,
Mm.
their ears tends to be very searching. So imagine if one of our organ is searching for the sound or some music or some noise out there, how
Mm-hmm.
are they to concentrate?
Mm.
I'd rather put on something which is soothing to their ears, soothing to their their mind, which is calming. That actually serves as another avenue of concentration.
Mm. So when you say that when parents go for consult and you advise the parents to just let go, that just let them be. What about the situations whereby sometimes as a parent, it's very hard to let go because sometimes we think that we know better than our kids. So what would be some of the approach to empower parents to really work with the kids rather than getting the kids to follow whatever mom or dad said?
Okay, first of all, for parents who comes to our to us for this
Mm,
analysis,
mm,
they want to help the child.
mm,
And most importantly, they want to help themselves,
mm,
right? So that they can empower themselves a method to help the child along the way. And most importantly, not only just increasing the academic result. On the other hand, what they want to achieve. I think most of the parents coming to us for this reason is increasing. So that is the bonding with the child, because it doesn't work for both ways. Sometimes when we want a certain result from our child, we are moving towards one direction. That is a very forceful one. So at the same time, after some time, they will realize that, oh no, something is missing. That's our bonding. Our communication is breaking down. So with that, earlier you were mentioning then how do we actually empower? So first of all, for any parents to come to us, there must be a mindset that I want to make a change. If they are resistant to change, I would say that don't do the analysis, because you have the piece of information, and if you want to work to 100% efficiency, you have to actually learn to let go. We have to let go. So my advice to parents that actually it doesn't really harm, and it doesn't actually make a lot of differences if you were to give it a try. Try to let go to see whether if it improves. If it does, it's bonus. So you can have a conviction that I can continue to listen to my child, to let go, and to actually blend into where they are sitting more comfortably. You agree? So because
What
you, mm,
what if it's hard to let go? Because I think from my experience of working with parents, I know that sometimes it's very hard to let go. So what will happen next?
when we think that it's very hard to let go, one fine day the child will let go of us.
Wow,
If
that's
we
a
didn't
very powerful
want,
message.
yes, if we didn't want that to happen, we have to let go now. Letting go is not by letting go of their hand, letting go of our expectation, letting go of our, I think, the image of parents. We have to let go. We have to be friends with our kids so that we can have a better bonding and understand, and they can open up to us. So I would think that if we are resistant to let go today, then one day we'll be forced to be let go by our kids. So I think with this, I think uh, I would say that with this message, parents will have to rethink. Is it really difficult for me to let go? By letting go now, it's just my expectation and the way that I react and the way that I communicate with my child. I think that is nothing, it's not really a loss, it's a gain. It's definitely a gain, because by letting go of our expectation, the child is coming closer to us. By letting go of our communication style that may not be very wholesome to our child, the child will find that we are more, we are nearer, we are there for them. So I don't think that by letting go at this point of time as a parent is a loss. In fact, it's a gain. But one day if our child let go of our hand, I think that's a loss because we will have lost our connectivity. So that is a great loss.
Yeah, I would want to find out more about like what you did, because I think you did a very good job in terms of supporting your daughter. And you mentioned that maths is not her greatest strength. Yeah, and I think it's something that many parents, like myself or like my middle child, doesn't really like math, and math is not her best subject. So let's zoom in more to primary school. So what will be some of your, or maybe you can share with us, so how exactly do you support your child during that stage? Yeah, so I need to invite you and bring you back to the primary school years, and going back to, we like, for example, I'm like feeling very helpless. So what on earth did I do wrong and not helping my kid?
Not exactly what have you done wrong, but I think it's more towards, if I were to know that my child have a weakness in that, so the next thing I want to know is that which area will be more helpful to her. So for Mignon's case, I actually do it through a lot of learn to play.
Yes.
So at the age of
play.
Yeah, learn to play. So at the age of 5, I have to keep thinking of so many different kind of objects to play with her when I get home from work. I will think of different objects just to play with her. We will just add in some elements, plus, minus, so to induce her interest in addition and subtraction. So that is actually basically what I have done mostly during that point of time until she's more ready. Then I'll start, I think at the K2, then she start going to some of the math school to get some formal learning. But that is a very short life. I think it's just coming about 3 months before primary 1. So I didn't want to introduce this to her too early. That will put her off. So actually go it slow and steady, slow but surely. So the message to parents is give them the space. And ever since then, when she gets to primary 1, I'm always very open-minded. She can make mistakes. Making mistake is actually good for our children, because when they make mistake, they are more focused in class. They want to know what did it went wrong, so they tend to listen to teacher. So I will not even correct her answer when I see mistakes in her workbook. So this is actually, I think, one of the learning process for her. So with that, she also gets very focused in class. So I guess sometimes parents, we just have to slow down. We don't have to be so anxious. When you go to primary 1, it's a preparation for the PSLE. Agree? They are there to learn. They're not there to perform. So don't have to be so uptight if they shall get a few answers wrong, because sometimes mistake is good. Mistake is by giving us a chance, or give the child a chance to listen to the explanation in class. By changing the answer or by correcting the answer at home is actually, I would say that it is a minus point, because the child will think that I've got it right. Because they are too young, they can't really master the concept of I didn't do it through my own effort. As long as the answer is right, it's right. Because they are very young. So they should go through the concept of that I got it wrong. I have to listen to teacher for her to explain why is that so. I think that would be very helpful. That'd be very helpful. So I think, again, this is letting go. Letting go by allowing our children to make mistakes. Even under our nose, we see that, oh my God, it's a mistake. We just let go. Because when we let her experience the mistake in class, I think that will be wonderful. And that is how they build up their focusing mind in the class too. So this is, I think, in the primary school learning. I think the most importantly, would you agree? As I mentioned, I've been mentioning from the very beginning of the conversation, it's the parents who we need to manage ourselves. It's not that our child is not able to achieve, but being too, sometimes we are just a bit too uptight. So we actually, I would say we actually bring the child into a different direction. We are eager to have all the correct answers when our children go to class, to have all the ticks instead of any crosses. So I think this is something where parents can actually be a little bit more hopeful in this area and be more daring to let go. Just let the child experience. I think experience is something which is very important.
I think just to add on, normally Okay, as a parent, I think when my kids didn't know how to do the school homework,
Mm.
I will just say try your best, and then anything else leave it to the teacher, yeah, or you can ask your friends, and then you brainstorm. So what I'm trying to encourage you is the thinking process and also the discussion phase as well. Yeah,
Yes.
but I noticed that sometimes I know that I hear from some parents and some friends who are parents, it is so hard to really stop ourselves from going on social media. WhatsApp group is also another very common ones, and then posting the question, getting friends to help in, and just want to get the space filled with solutions. Yeah, so I think it's really hard. So as an expert, what would be some of your advice in helping parents to really say, hey, I got to stop this now? Though I'm aware, but how do I stop myself from
I think
helping?
my advice to this is, if the
Yes.
research, the person who does the research and asking process is the child themselves, that would be very helpful. Because when the child go out there to research on the answer, that is indirectly increasing their intelligence. So instead of the parents, we keep increasing our intelligence, I think give the job to the child. I mean, today, we can't deny most of the children, they know how to Google. So they can even research for the answer through Google. It's a process. Of course, many parents also is quite resistant towards gadgets. But if you use it correctly, it can be very helpful. The child can go to the Google to look for the answer. So in the process of the research, that is actually indirectly increasing their intelligence, which actually parents have missed out. Intelligence is there. We are born with this, but it can be increased along the pipeline. And another area that you have to work on is the creativity. Many a times we think that art is not a subject, that art is not a subject, so we actually didn't really put in much effort. But unknowingly, if we were to put in some of this element in our learning, that is surprisingly very helpful for our the other part of the intellectual area to be also improved. So besides giving them the chance to do research on their own, give them some space to be creative. Even daydreaming is definitely healthy, because many times we need to daydream so that we can think of something out of the box, so that we will not just follow by book at all times. That will actually kill the creativity in the child.
So what I hear is not wrong to use social media or WhatsApp groups to get the answers. It's just that parents can be more strategic on the flow. Like instead of us asking our friends, asking our friends who are teachers, getting the answers out, and then just spoon feeding the child with the final correct answers. We let the child say, hey, now you're stuck. So who can you, if you need help, you can just leave it alone, or you can get help from other people. So who can you get help from? Nowadays is open to getting help from friends, getting help from strangers who are on social medias, and then letting the child walk through the process and think through which are the answers that are compiled and are correct. Yeah, so I think letting the child do the job rather than we parents do the job.
Yes, I think that is indirectly also helping the child to interact, to have to learn about the thinking process. I think that is amazing. Rather than we as a parents are always there to help them to see to every needs. In the long way, I think that is damaging in the sense of for depriving them for doing the research on by themselves, depriving them from interacting. But of course, if they are at the age of maybe primary school, we just have to be mindful. We just have to be there to guide them. We want to know who they are talking. Is it the right person that they're talking to? But we are not going to judge. We're not going to say yes or no. We are there just with open eyes and open ears to be there to make sure that everything is all right. Even we sense that something is not really heading in the right direction, we should sit down and talk nicely, discuss nicely with the child. Because once we become very judgmental, the child becomes defensive. So when that happens, the communication is not going to move forward. So we must trust our own children. I think fundamentally, the trusting portion is also very important. If we are going to allow them to do it through the system, we are there to guide them. to teach them what is right and wrong, how to protect themselves if they will use gadgets out there. But at the same time, I think that is also a learning process for the child to know how to tell, how to decipher right and wrong, good and maybe not so wholesome. I think this is a lot more than just learning the subject itself.
Yes, and I agree with you that teaching the children the how rather than giving them the final outcome is better. And this reminded me of the idiom that says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Yeah, so which means that parents, I know that some of us, we do ask for help from our friends, and probably maybe, and I know that being a parent myself, we have limited energy and bandwidth. And some of us, like myself, I got 3 kids. I know a friend with 6 kids. Yeah,
Wow.
so we do have limited time as well. And as parents, we need to take care of ourselves first, Yeah,
Yes.
so probably can share with your children. Hey, so if you are, maybe you can say something like, hey, if I'm you, the child, maybe I can go and do this or that and explore together with, which goes back to what Ovidia said. It's always the with your child, that kind of thing. And I really love what you just said as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So actually it's important. It's important for our children to explore their own with our guidance. I always believe that as a parent, we are there to guide, not to dictate. If we are going to dictate their life, let me tell you, when we are old lady and old uncle, I tell you, our children is going to dictate our life, because that is how we actually bring them up, how we brought them up.
Yeah.
So to them is, oh, you dictated my life. So now you are old, I'm going to dictate your life too. Because I also, sometimes in our clientele base, sometimes we also come across more senior personalities, more senior individuals. So at times we share, they were telling me, oh, my children doesn't allow me with that, doesn't allow me with this. I say, so I learned along the way also. So it's the same thing, because when she was young as a mommy, she is dictating their life. So now when she is an old lady, the children dictates her life back. So whatever we want for our future, we have to display right now. We take care of the present, and the present will take care of our future. How we want our children to treat us, that's how we are going to treat them today. I always think that this message is very important for all of us to know as a parent, because many of the time we think that all parents love their children. This is 100%. But the things that our love sometimes is very suffocating. Right, when we dictate their life, is suffocating. I even have some of my customers at the age of 20 plus 30. They're all been telling me, I did not like this faculty. I didn't want to go into it. My parents forced me into it. So during that period of time, my relationship with my parents are so sour. And ultimately, they choose to work on something which is not even from the same faculty. So I think that is a waste. That is really a waste in terms of not in terms of academic, but a waste in terms of the sour relationship that they suffered during those few years. It's a missed out. It's a miss.
Which goes back to the fundamental of the relationship, which is trust, lah. Yeah, maybe
Yes.
I'd love to hear more from you on trust and how to build trust. But before that, I also want to ask a question, which is about the children's life being dictated by the parents since young, and when they grow older, there's a high chance that because this is what they learn from the parents, they are going to do the same thing for their own parents.
Yes.
Probably because of mirroring what they have learned since young. Yeah. So, but okay, let me just be the bad guy for a while and say that, hey, and I can hear some parents maybe saying that, hey, all these it's not going to happen to me one. Yeah, don't worry lah.
Most of parents will say that.
Yeah.
But then who can verify for me? Only when I'm at the age of 60 or 70, then I'll tell you secretly, John, I am a victim too. Because I now I understand why Ovidia saying that. You get what I mean? Because we also learn from our seniors. We hear from our seniors and the way of how they parent their children, how the parenting style is like during those times. So to a certain extent, we are all human. Whether is it going to happen to us, there's a 50-50% chance. Agree with me? But if it's going to be 50%, I think it's still quite a high stake, which I didn't want to take. If I can be nice to them at this point of time, then why not? Why not? Right? Because it's so often that parents have been telling me, or rather, by my own experience, when my girl moved into 13 years old, my friends around me were telling me, "Hey, your girl is going to move into the rebellious, this state." I said, "Oh, is that so? Is it a must?" Then I said, yeah, high chance she's going to be rebellious. So at the age of 14, 15, they keep checking with me. I said, no, it never happened. So they were saying that, why is that so? Actually, do you actually notice that this word rebellious is what we actually put on them? It also, again, it also marked down to what is the relationship that we both our mother and the child is enjoying during the younger age. During the younger age, we always respect what they say. They are there they're given the option to air their opinion. So it comes very naturally when they are at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, even 20 or 30. To us is just a sharing, to us it's just an opinion. We won't take it as that you are talking back. Many a times when this word, this rebellious, this term come into the parents' minds, because when they were little, we are always there, as I mentioned just now, dictating their life again. We are always there to tell them what is right, what is wrong, they can do, what they can't do. They don't have a chance to tell me what you want. You don't have a chance to share opinion with me. But not forgetting they're growing. So when they go to secondary school, to a certain extent, they are more matured. They're getting to be more matured. And the circles of friends also change. They're also more individual. So when that happens, they start voicing out their opinion. They start to share. So again, parents will jump into the wagon and say, come on, you see, rebellious already. But actually, it isn't. If we were to look closer, that is not what is happening. If you were to give the child a chance to air their opinion since very little, we always take it as a very positive kind of a conversation. High chance, when they're at the age of much older age, it's going to be the same synergy. And we will not brand them. And once we actually brand them, that is where the whole relationship goes haywire again. The child will think that you didn't give me a chance. The child will think that you don't understand me. And the parents will think that you have changed. Actually, that's why I always say that they have not changed. They have been like this all this while. But we have actually shadowing them down. We didn't give them a chance and an option to show us, to tell us who they are. So that's why by having the report, sometimes it's very useful. We are there. We know this is the piece of information that is at my fingertips. So when I come across this personality that is facing, I will not be too. I would not be too surprised. I will not be too alarmed. I will not start to point finger and say, because of this friend you're behaving like this. Because of that friend, there's no such accusation. And with that is something which is very important, because our children also want us to respect their friends. Agree? But of course, many times, again, as anxious parents, we are always pointing fingers. It's either the child, it's either their friends, anyone else around the whole world beside ourselves.
Definitely.
And most high chances that we are the culprit ourselves. So by knowing their personality, I would say, with anticipation, so that it's not there to judge, it's not there to think that, oh, this is going to happen. But after knowing this, we can actually participate in their changes, in how they are going to present themselves to us as a young adult, as they grow. So when nothing is alarming to us, we just think that, oh, okay. Because every character that we have in us is a double sword. There's no good or bad. But it's just that sometimes we are too eager to look at the negative side. We have forgotten about the positive area. Like example, I say, hey, John, your report shows that you're very stubborn.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah, but many of us will say, no, I'm not. But being stubborn, again, do you think that is right or wrong? I think that is.
Yeah, defensive already.
Right. But there's no right or wrong. I would say that, well, when you're very stubborn, then you must be one who is very strong-willed.
Yeah.
Okay? You see, it's the same character that we're talking about. That you're very strong-willed, you didn't give up, you won't give up easily. So if you look at it in this aspect, we'll know how to appreciate the child better. He might appear to be very stubborn during certain period of time or during certain events. But on the other hand, we know very well with this piece of information or with this piece of trait that is in him or her, she's very strong-willed. So we are going to tap on this so that we help her or him to achieve the dream that he or she has. Yeah, I mean, so that.
Yes. I also want to go back to the trust thing because I also really like what you said about having conversation with the kids since young, and something that I also encourage my parents in our tribe, which is do not use maths revision time to revise maths alone. It's also a very if used well, you can actually better understand your kids by conversing with your kids and also hearing their views. Yeah. So I also like the part that you say building the family routine since young and really conversing and exchanging ideas so that when you did it when the child was young and you do it again when the child was older, it's the same old thing that you've been doing as the family. Yeah. So there's nothing changed at all. It's just like exchanging views between two friends. Yeah.
Yes.
So in your own life, when you bring up your girl, right, since young, what are some of your own special mommy to daughter way that you build trust? And I'd love to hear your specific example, and that will be the best takeaway for today. Even for me, yes, I need it. I got 3 girls, I need it.
Yes. Okay, to certain extent, if a child were to explain a situation, be it that is a story that we heard from our relatives for the one who is taking care of them, or from the school, we want to hear the version coming from our child. If they say that this is what had happened, I will tell her, I will believe you. I'll choose to believe you. But you must always tell me the truth. And with that, the child is definitely not going to lie to you at all, because they didn't want to let us down. So this is actually something very powerful. The child doesn't lie, and the trust is because of the trust that we have in them. We trust every word that they tell us. And with that, they will definitely want to uphold the truth to us at all times.
So how do you respond? Because I think being a kid myself, last time I was a very naughty kid. Yeah, I mean, yes, I am very mischievous. So when my dad came, and my dad was very strict, so I always try to bend the story. Yes, and my father will scold me like until upside down. So how should a parent react or respond accordingly to uphold the trust, even though it's something that we don't like to hear?
One thing which is very important is not telling your child that you are very angry at him, but you're very upset with what he has done. Because only when you say that you're upset, the child can feel you. If you were to tell the child that I'm very angry for the act or for the lie that you told me, I tell you it's a trade-off. So parents try to converse to our kids by using words such as upset rather than angry. Because when we tell the child that I'm very angry with you for telling a lie, the child will feel that it's a trade-off. Because when you're angry, you're sending out a negative vibe. It's either you scold me or you beat me up. Agree? So to them, it's a trade-off. Okay. But if you were to explain to them how upset you are because of what had happened, and with this, you have actually the upsetting portion will actually make the child feel, and they will not want to fear you again.
So what about disappointed?
Look, upset and disappointed. Yeah, can. Anything which is more feeling. Can. Just not angry. Just not angry. All right. Don't ever mention words such as I'm very angry with you for doing that. Oh, it's a trade-off. But I say I'm very disappointed, I'm very upset with this because you are a great child to me. I didn't believe that you would do that. Okay, everyone will be given a second chance. So with this, I have to tell you how I feel, and I hope that it will never happen again. So if the child is going to feel, he's going to feel really, really bad about it, he will not behave the same way again. So this is something which is very important. So if the child is very fearful of you, or the child is very worried that you get upset, I think that's going to make a lot of difference in the child and ourselves. If the child is sorry,
do we even go to the channel of cause and effect, like touching on if you do this, that will be the consequence? Because I know that some parents they do that, like exploring the consequence. If you do this, what will happen? Do we even do that?
It doesn't work on every child. again, I must look at the personality of the child and
Okay.
other areas, because in the whole analysis, I can actually know the child at my fingertips. So I can actually advise parents, is this method going to work on your child? Some children, no. Some children, yes. So what you have mentioned earlier on, I would say that is a yes and no. Why you do this and the consequences. Some children, we can use this method, but not all. I think children of today's children is very different. They are much more knowledgeable. They are much more equipped with all the social medias that is surrounded and compared to our during our time.
Yeah, like blah blah one. I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
was
just
blah blah.
follow whatever our parents say. We just respect our teachers, but our children are behaving and very differently nowadays.
Yeah.
So with that, I would say that it's a yes and no, because
Would you briefly like share, because I suddenly like you left me dangling. Like, so when can we use it and when can we not use it?
Okay, some of the children, if you were to do this, this is what's going to happen. It depends.
Okay.
It depends again
Okay.
whether the child is a left brain or right brainer. Right? This also play a part. If you were to do this, is what's going to happen. So next, you must explain logically. This child is going to take this piece of information logically, or this child is going to take this piece of information through emotions. So by knowing this piece of information, there again, it's very important, because by knowing that whether my child is a left brainer, right brainer, or a balanced brain, how am I going to tell this piece of information that by doing this, this is the consequences? So again, this is which is why I say yes and no, because if we didn't know how to do it correctly, we didn't know how to actually apply this, somehow it just doesn't work.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I just want to paraphrase to see if I'm on the same page as you also.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So let's say if you use it and the child is more logical, which is the left brain, definitely when you share, it's going to be like a process kind of thing. So it also determines the words that you use and the order of the sentences and the words as well. But if the child is like the right brain, like emotion, colors, as parents, we need to select words that are feeling words as well as like able to paint a picture as well, so that the child can see. And I think feeling words is also something very sensitive. If used wrongly, it can backfire as well, because like if I say that I feel sad versus maybe sad, the child's going to get confused. Like, is it you feel sad or I feel sad? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
But of course, there's another portion that is a balanced brain. You must have a mixture of both elements in the message that we send across.
Oh, got balanced brain one.
Yes, and the reason why I say that some children work, some children doesn't work, because some children really work with motive. Some children, the motive, that part doesn't work on them.
Motive
yes.
Means what? Sorry.
Means that, by doing so what is going to be next? Some works, some doesn't work. Again, you must see what is the DNA.
Yeah.
Some
so parents
children is quite instantly.
So in the sense, it's like parents, if you want, I mean, this goes back to how well do you know do you know your child? And I think something that's it goes down to thinking that I know versus the DNA aspect of the child, and then having the report out. Yeah. Again, parents, this is not a paid advertisement. So I mean, I brought on Ovidia to really share with us her perspective of having brought up her child, as well as being an expert in her own field as well. Yeah. So okay, again, not paid ad. It's not paid ad, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah. No, because I was accused of by some people saying that, hey, now John, hey, now you become like a online broadcaster or host selling TV space.
I see. I think what you're doing is trying to give parents more insight.
Definitely.
Especially what I'm doing, I think it's something very new to most of parents out there. But it is definitely helpful, which is why you invited me to.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I want to say that because I was some sort of like accused. Yeah, parents actually. I just want to say that why we bring the experts is because being a parent myself, it's not just about scoring well in English, math, science, and scoring well in PSLE. Nowadays, I think we need to know much more like right brain, left brain, balanced brain.
Yes.
And then the digital age, a lot of things. Yeah. So okay, so what you have shared made me very interested to know about how do I get a report. Yeah. So could you just share with us like how to get a report?
Do you have a website?
Okay, you want to do share screen?
I share screen.
You can share screen because you are the host also. You're the co-host.
I
Okay,
didn't
so while
prepare, but
Ovidia
I think you see, I
is,
think at this corner there is my website. Can you see?
you want to do share screen or not, and then you just
do share
bring us to the
screen.
page, because actually I went through the page. I can't find the exact page.
Okay.
Never mind, you take your time. Okay, so
Okay.
while I do some
Just a second.
wrap up. Hey parents,
Okay.
in the meantime, if you have any question, feel free to post inside the chat box.
Our website and contact.
Yeah. Never mind, if you need help, I can help you.
No worries. I have help.
Okay. So if you have any question, please feel free to post inside the comment box in the under the video. Because I think that as a parent, even though we are doing maths, but being a parent myself, I just feel that I am so handicapped when I feel that I don't know my kids. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes I feel that, or every day I feel that. Yeah. So any questions, just feel free to put in the comment box. Hello, Catherine. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Okay. Can already. Yeah.
Let me go to my.
Can take your time. Take your time. Yeah, I think it's just doing a service for the parents lah.
Yeah.
It's not compulsory. Yeah, not compulsory.
Parents
But
can find out more.
correct.
So over here we have our contact number. That's our website.
Oh, okay. Ubi, yeah. So must go down to Ubi to do, is it?
It depends on the situation. If the COVID situation is okay, parents are welcome to come to our office. Otherwise, we can make arrangement outside. I can send someone to the residents to get the specimens, because we want to reduce the traveling for some of the kids.
So how does it work? Sorry. So let's say I sign up now, then you come to my house.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, not myself lah.
Oh, okay. Then do what?
They will collect all the 10 fingerprints of your kid.
Okay.
Then after that will send for analysis. It'll take about 3 weeks.
Okay, so kids must wash hands so that it's a very clear data.
Yes, will be sanitized unless your kids swim a lot. Then you have to start putting on more hand cream for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because if they swim a lot, then sometimes their skin can be quite blurred. The regions can be quite blurred. Yes.
Okay.
So with that, maybe can just share with parents not to worry, because all the data are protected, and in our system there will be just the name and the fingerprints. We will not take down any identifiable information of the child or even the parents.
Yeah. So how long do the parents have to wait for the report, and what will be next? Like 3 weeks, okay.
So after which there will be a consultation, so the parents can have a very deep insight of how they can help the child along the pipeline, and they can even see where are the limitations and the strengths of the child. Because when we know the strength, we can bring up the confidence of the child. If we zoom into the area of training, and of course we know how much time and patience we have to give to the child to work on their limitations. Then after that, we also help parents to design all the enrichment classes that is most suitable for the child too. So there's a lot of what is next. Maybe the parents are the one who needs the parenting tutorial. We are going to do this for the parents next year. We are in the pipeline, because in our team there are consultants, there are coaches, there are also trainers. So I'm moving into parental tutorial too, so parents can get help.
So sorry, quick one. So I think I'm asking more for myself lah. Live. So okay. So how would the consult be like? Is it that you'll be done through Zoom, or again you have to go down?
It's done through Zoom.
Okay.
So after the report is ready, it'll be sent to the residents. Or the parents can pick up either way.
Okay.
Then after which we will go into a Zoom session.
Okay. So you will talk to me lah.
Yes, I will. I'm the chief consultant here. So if it's not me, there will be someone else out there.
Sure. Okay, I think like what all parents like to ask, can you give us like I won't say exactly how much lah. So what will be the price range like per child?
Okay, it depends on what information you want. If you want to zoom into a certain area that you just want to know what's the multiple intelligence because you want to go into some training, then our price is ranging from 180 to 800. 800 is the comprehensive all in. It's going to hold your hand. For myself, it's going to hold my hand all the way until I become an old lady. Because if I have issue with my grandchildren, I will look at my own personality, which area I have to take notes.
Also,
And
the
it's also
800 can also be done for adults.
Yes, I do. My most senior client is 63. She does it because she wants to know her own DNA. So I always joke with or everyone around me. Hey, my mom used to always tell me that, hey, your grandfather is such a nice man. But oh my God, if I were to have his DNA today, I would know exactly which area is he very nice. Do you get me? So I always tell my children jokingly, hey, this is my DNA. Next time show to my grandchildren, this is how your grandmother is like.
Interesting.
It acts as an inspiration to the little ones also. I want to be like grandma, I want to be like grandpa.
Yeah.
But most importantly is that in it, you can also actually identify which is the most, what is for adults, what is our management style, what is our leadership quality, and even you can tell what is the most suitable career for ourselves, which is going to be very helpful. This
yeah, maybe
is how the report look like. Can you see?
Cannot see.
Cannot see, huh?
Yeah, never mind. A bit hard because you must. Okay, there's a way to do it. Hold it near to the webcam, but you block out some lights at the side.
Block out some light.
Yeah, block out some lights at the side. Or cannot see. Or maybe you can. Maybe you can stop share screen first, lah.
Yeah.
Then I do a spotlight. Right? Cannot see because of the.
Yeah.
But there's a way one. There's a way.
So actually, it's very, in fact, I think that it's very important for everyone to have this report.
Interesting.
Because we know ourselves well. I do have adults who wants to make a shift in the career. So they actually have the report done. So they do understand themselves better, whether should I be the trainer or should I be the manager. That kind of thing. I ever have some of clients, I'm given a chance to be a trainer or to be a manager. So after going through the report, so with that, it acts as a support to the decision making.
Got it.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Ovidia, for sharing with us so much over the past 1 hour about
My
your
pleasure.
own professional life as well as how you brought up your daughter. Yeah. Okay. So what would be one key takeaway for parents here? Because I think this is a very deep topic and yet it's something that affects us as a parent every day.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would be your best tip for them?
The best tip is take care of the present, and the present will take care of the future. So it's just as simple as that. Give your child the best kind of nurturing, and they will actually take care of, be it their kids or even parents like ourselves. So all will be taken care of. It starts from us. And it's going to go a very long way from generation to generation.
Thanks so much for sharing.
My pleasure to share this interesting tools with all the parents.
Yes, and for all our guests, we normally end off with the same question. And you know that for us, we support busy parents who teach their children primary school maths. Yeah, so PSLE is a very important milestone for the children and the parents as well. Yeah, so I would like to ask you a question now. Yeah, so can I invite Ovidia to go down your memory lane? Then you become younger, and then you start to see your younger self, the 12-year-old Ovidia.
Yes.
As you go down this lane, then you can see her. Then she's looking at you. Then it's like she smiled at you, and then you got so near to her that you can almost hold her hand. What will the present you tell the 12-year-old Ovidia? No right or wrong one.
If mommy were to know that you have a gifted area in math, you won't be doing so badly today.
So that one is you tell yourself.
Yes, because I have a gifted area in math. But again, I always tell my parents when it's a gifted area, it is going to be tough because it started from 0 to unlimited. So during the point of time when I was at 12 years old, I hated math a lot, and I didn't do well. So if my mom shall know that I have a gifted area at that point of time, if she were to give me the support and also to hold my hand into the training, I think today I'll be fantastic in the area.
Okay, maybe I push a bit. So what kind of support, if you can turn back time, what kind of support do you hope that your mommy can give you then?
Give me the space, the time for me to master before I can fly. Because when one have a gifted area in that area, they must learn how to walk steadily. Once they master it, then they can fly all the way to the sky. So that's the support that my mommy should, or my mommy will give me if she shall know that I have the gifted. I'm gifted in the area. So the 12 years old me was then.
Very nice. Yeah. So I think what I learned from you is giving space, and sometimes we are not sure. We can definitely during dinner time, lunchtime, breakfast, talk to our kids and start that conversation so that it can be like a family routine all the way to, I would say, end of life lah. Yeah, because that's how things goes. Start and end. Yeah.
Yes.
So Ovidia, thanks so much for being here and really appreciate it. Yeah, don't go off first. I will end the session.
Thank you very much, John, for having me.
Thank you, thank you. Parents, thanks for being here. I know that now it's like holiday season. Some of you could be traveling, some of you are stuck at home like me. Yeah, but thanks so much for being here, and I hope that all these tips can empower yourself as a parent. And do remember to praise your child once a day. I mean, that's something that is minimum that we should do lah. Okay, bye-bye.